So my book is Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Scott Keyes. And basically, the book is about a guy named Charlie. And Charlie is mentally retarded, as the book says, because it takes place in the 60s when basically retarded was the actual definition for people who were like mentally impaired or disadvantaged. It was like the actual medical term. And basically in the beginning he's kind of living a sad life, but there's this operation that he pretty much volunteers for. It's like an experiment on a human, the first human experiment. And after this operation, he pretty much becomes super smart, like one of the smartest people alive, like smarter than Einstein smart. And he learns about life, he makes scientific discoveries, he learns about his life and who he was and what he is and like just about the world and stuff he didn't learn before. And slowly at the end of the book, the rat which they originally did the experiment on first before they did it on human was named Algernon. And Algernon starts to deteriorate and then he eventually dies. And then Charlie, he also starts to lose his intelligence. And he pretty much ends up back at the point where he's retarded again, and he kind of like was very dramatic. It's a very dramatic book. And afterwards, Charlie kind of ends up in a mental institute again. He doesn't remember anything from before. He doesn't remember who he was. He can't read any of the writings he used to write. And he pretty much ends up in a much more sad life than he had before. And he's just kind of like lonely. It's a sad book. But I would recommend it. It's definitely a good book to read. It's great for English. There's lots of essays and stuff you can do with it. It's an interesting book. It has an interesting storyline. So yeah, it's Flowers for Algernon.